Hey everyone, Austin here again with another Let's Play video. Today, as you can see, it's going to be Little Samson for the NES. This is a Taito platformer released later on in the NES's life, not towards the tail end, but still, you know, a little bit after the NES was in its prime. It's a pretty cool game. I'm not sure if I really care for it all that much. I actually just recently played it and finished it for the first time a few weeks ago. And I'm still very much lukewarm on this game. It's touted as this ultimate hidden gem in the YouTube world. It's obviously an expensive game. It's one of the most sought after NES. I should say it's one of the most sought after officially licensed NES games out there. And a lot of people just put it up on this pedestal. I don't really see why, but I'll sort of get into my thoughts as we progress through this game. I finished it 3 or 4 times on Twitch. It wasn't really that hard to get through this game on the first try. I think it took me obviously longer the first time I played the game, but I did finish it in my very first sitting. I had to continue a couple of times. But it really wasn't too much trouble, and obviously the more I played the game, the better I got at it, and the more I started to experiment with like the different forms you can change into. Like, it's actually demonstrating it right here. There's a golem, you can change into the golem, you can change into a dragon. Now I think it's going to show us the mouse. And these are basically our 4 core main characters in the game that we can actually just alternate between as we play through the game. It's a neat mechanic. I'm not really sure if it's executed the best, though. I don't really have a desire to play as a lot of the characters unless I'm actually forced to. And there are a couple of sections where you have to change to one or the other or so forth. So let's go ahead and just jump into the game. This is probably going to take us at least an hour to get through. And we're going to play it on normal. I don't think there's a harder difficulty mode. Like I said, I finished this game multiple times now, and after the ending, it's never given me an option to play on a harder difficulty mode. So now that we've started off here, this is actually Little Samson himself. He's the main character in the game. Once you get through these first 4 main stages, you can hit the start button. It'll show you your lives, it'll show you your health for your current character, but then it'll show you the health bars for the other characters as well. You also get these life potions that'll display on this screen as well. They'll act as like health refills that you can use whenever you want. So Little Samson, he kind of, you know, runs and shoots like Mega Man. He can shoot 3 bullets on the screen at max, just like Mega Man. A lot of people compare this game to Mega Man. It kind of is like Mega Man, but it's also kind of not like Mega Man. It's almost like, I don't know, it's like, it's deceiving. Like, you start to play this game and you're like, oh, it's a Mega Man game. But in reality, it's kind of not. And I'll sort of get into that as we progress throughout the game. For one, as you can see, you can actually walk on walls and ceilings and so forth. Samson's one of the main characters that can do that. The mouse is another character that can do that as well. The wall mechanics take some getting used to, and they definitely take some getting used to, but it's definitely a very important mechanic in this game, and one you really have to play by. When you want to like latch onto a ceiling, you can just jump and press up, and then from there you can just move left and right. You don't have to hold down any buttons or anything. That is pretty nice, and as you can see, Little Samson just kind of like, he just sort of like wraps around edges on his own. A lot of games won't let you do that. Like games that'll let you get on the ceilings, they won't let you move around corners like that. So it's very seamless, and I do like that mechanic. I do like this mechanic, especially with Samson. The mouse, the same way. Those are the 2 characters that can climb on walls and so forth. It is a neat mechanic, and it's very easy to get used to, fortunately. So one of my big gripes with this game is actually, and I don't want to get into like the negative stuff right away, but one of my gripes with the game is just like the enemy structures and layouts. So we're gonna just take our time in this first level since it's nice and easy. Let's see if these guys respawn. I don't think they will, actually. Let's see. Some enemies in this game respawn, some enemies do not. Later on in the game in particular, you have just tons of constantly spawning enemies. They never stop coming at you. That's another one of my gripes with this game. That can get a little annoying. Now, games like Mega Man, a lot of other NES games in particular as well, you know, like Ninja Gaiden or something like that, had respawning enemies. So you'd kill an enemy, you'd move off screen, then you'd move back, and the enemy would be back. Well, Little Samson doesn't have that as much as it has constantly spawning enemies. They just constantly come in at all times. This level doesn't appear to have any. And this is a health refill. This is fire or lava, whatever you want to call it. It kills you instantly. You don't want to touch that. But you know these enemy patterns I'm fighting? Like there's like these 3 dragons just in a vertical column. There's another set. You have to fight these same... Look, there's another one. You have to fight these same enemy patterns endlessly throughout this game. That's one of my... one of the things I really don't like about this game is like, I feel like there wasn't really a whole lot of effort put into the level design itself. So whereas a lot of people compare this to Mega Man, I really feel it can't even come close to Mega Man in terms of level structure and design and just the overall enjoyment. Look, there's another vertical column of those little dragon guys. It just can't come close to the quality of Mega Man's stages. And I don't know. I don't want to have this be like a really negative Let's Play. It's not the intention of this Let's Play. I want to show you guys how to get through the game and just share my experiences with you at the same time. And unfortunately, my experiences were a little mixed with this game. So these little canisters right here, these hearts inside the bubbles, they'll actually extend your health bar. Now, your health bar caps out at a certain length or height, depending on your character. So with the dragon, I think this is about as high as it goes. With the mouse, I think you can only level it up once. With the golem, you can level it up the most out of all the characters. And this is a health potion. These things are really good to have. Like I was explaining on the main screen here, you can actually select it and refill your health if you want. So I went ahead and just refilled it. It wasn't really necessary, look, especially because there's a heart right there, which would have refilled my health anyway. This is an extra life, the little Samson icon. This game is actually very, very generous with extra life drops. And it's also pretty generous with, like, health refill drops and things like that. One of the good things about having constantly respawning enemies on later stages in the game is that since there's no timer in this game, you can just sit and just grind out on enemies over and over. And you guys are going to definitely see me doing that later on in the game, just to make sure that I can get through the game without continuing. And one of the big things about this game is that if you die with one of your characters equipped, not Samson, but like your golem, your dragon, and your mouse, they're dead until I think either you beat the level or you get a game over or something like that. And so that's where like grinding out in this game can definitely help you on the later stages. And like I said, you guys will definitely see me doing some of that towards the end of the game. So look, more dragon patterns. I understand these are kind of like training stages, but you know, lots of repetitious enemy placement, unfortunately. And that's just Little Samson, I guess. Now the golem is, you can see his attack is pretty short range, but he is very, very powerful in this game. And one of the things I do really like about this game is that the different characters, which can be switched on the fly after a certain point, they offer a decent amount of variety and strategy, more so on the boss fights, not as much on the stages themselves. Now, there are some exceptions, like the mouse is extremely fast, and he jumps really high. You can actually sort of like skip sections with the mouse, which is really cool. From what I understand, speedrunners will use the mouse. You can see that he's really fast. He can just run and just jump over everything. There's also some bosses later on in the game where the mouse just does serious damage with his little bombs here. And you guys will definitely see me utilizing the mouse on certain boss fights later on in the game. But for the most part, I just avoid the mouse unless I'm trying to just like kind of bolt through the game. So as you can see, he's just really, really quick. Now, unfortunately, we did take a hit there, so we lost a lot of health. Let's see if we can kill this guy and that. And was there... oh, and we died. I wasn't expecting to do... I was expecting to be able to jump off the screen, but apparently the top of the screen is about as high as you can go, unfortunately. So It's okay, we'll just try to skip over these guys if we can. So with the mouse, you definitely have to be more careful than the other characters. For one, his health bar is very, very small in comparison. Also, his attack's not very well suited to a lot of these enemies. Now, this stage is kind of an exception, because you got these like puffball guys. They jump up, they drop down, and when they drop down and they blow up, they're it almost seems like they're invincible to attacks. See, like I just hit the guy, but nothing happened, so let's just jump over him. Alright, so now we're gonna actually have to fight the dragon, which we played as a boss fight. And you know what's kind of funny? I actually think the dragon's one of the most difficult boss fights in the game. Very big difficulty spike right here in the beginning. So all your characters go into that little orb thing, and your dragon's like, nope, and then he fights you. But I did find that sometimes you can sort of like get him into, you can time your attack kind of like that. And the dragon also actually fires when you fire. So that's one of the tricky things about this boss fight. Let's see if he can get down. Look, just like that. So basically, he's only got a certain amount of invincibility frames, and if you time your attack to where the next attack happens right after his invincibility frames go away, you'll basically just sort of like stun lock him, and he won't be able to attack you. And that's basically the trick I figured out on that boss, and it's the easiest way for me to get through that fight. So now we're actually into the main game itself. This is basically where the game really starts off. And what I recommend doing is actually playing with the dragon for a good majority of the game. And the big reason is that the dragon can charge up, and his charge attack is very powerful. But he can also hover for a short period of time. Just like so. And you can basically hover at whatever level you want. So you can do it light, you can do it high. It's definitely very useful. So I actually find the dragon to be the most useful character in the game. Obviously, aside from parts where I'm basically forced to play as a different character. So, you know, like this is a sequence where I need to climb on walls, so I have to switch out basically. So we're gonna go ahead, switch over to Samson. Now, one of my other gripes in this game is the soundtrack. Some of the music is good, like, or enjoyable to me anyway. You might think otherwise. Like the Dragon's music, I really like the Dragon's music. I dig the Golem's tune. But if you like to play as Samson, be prepared for some of the most annoying music on the NES. Which sucks, because I really like playing as Samson because he obviously plays a little more like Mega Man. And definitely has more of a Mega Man-ish kind of feel to his gameplay. But his backing tune sucks! It's garbage. It's terrible, actually. And more annoying enemy design. These little flowers that do three-way shots. And this is a common reoccurring theme with Little Samson as a whole. It's just really annoying enemy design, sometimes annoying enemy placement. And it gets worse as the game goes on. There are these skulls you have to fight later on in the game that are just supremely annoying. So you guys will see exactly what I mean once we get there. Now, I saw there was a health extend. I don't think we need it, but we will take this, this life refill. The life refills are very, very important, and what I try to do is try to have them for every single character. That way, every single character is nice and beefy, and prepared to take a lot of damage if necessary. So here's our first boss fight. Now, I do dig the boss fights in this game. They're not half bad. Some of them have multiple forms, like this one. And really, what I should be doing is I should be playing as a different character, like the dragon or the golem. But Samson's fine for a lot of these boss fights as well. You just end up having to mash the button a lot. Alright, so we're going to switch over to the dragon for this one. Let's charge up. So you can see how his charge attack is really solid. It's just really, really powerful. And if I really wanted to, I could just try to, like, hover and attack him. Okay, looks like that's not actually working. Alright, so let's switch back over to Samson. Play a Mega Man style. Now, unlike Mega Man, a lot of these boss fights, they don't have invincibility frames. So if you've got a rapid-fire character like Samson or the dragon, you can just get right up to them and just mash the button as fast as possible. So if you have like a turbo controller or something, you'll just tear through the guys really quickly. Oh look, more of those vertical dragon patterns. Yay. Yay for quality enemy placement in design. I love it. Alright, so we're probably gonna have to switch back over to the dragon again. As you can see, there's also some repetitious stage design as well. Well, I should say redundant stage design as well. So this is basically kind of like a remix of the Dragon's first stage as we began the game. So these tornadoes, sometimes you can jump on and actually use them as platforms. Unfortunately, that was a life refill, and it fell down a hole, so unfortunately Samson wasn't able to pick that up. So parts like this, just use the dragon. I got another extra life. So in a typical run, when you play this game, from my experience anyway, at finishing this game like 3 or 4 times, it's, you get a lot of extra lives. I think every single time I finished the game, I had like 9 or 10 lives by the end of the whole thing. And so if you're playing it relatively safe and you're not dying a lot, you should have a lot of extra lives left over by the end of the game. And it actually comes in handy towards the end of the game because the last few stages are pretty challenging. And particularly the last section of the game can be quite annoying, unfortunately. Okay, so what we're gonna do is kill this guy and switch over to Samson so we can get this health refill. Now when you're playing as characters like Samson, it's good to just play it really safe on these parts. Because something else I forgot to mention is that there are no checkpoints in this game. So a decently length stage like this, if you die, say I fall into this pit here right before the boss, all the way back to the beginning for me. There's no checkpoint. So you gotta watch out for that. And let's switch over to... let's try the golem. That was a bad idea, actually. Alright, other boss down. So as you can see, there are passwords in this game, which is nice. So if you're the kind of person that doesn't want to do this in one sitting, you can basically grab a password and then just, you know, take a breather, take a break, and then come back to the game later, which is nice. So we're going to go ahead and switch over to the Golem. The Golem's good in certain situations like this, where there's a lot of these guys that take a bunch of hits. He can kill pretty much most enemies in one hit. Most small enemies like this. Alright, looks like the Golem's health is actually maxed out now. It's actually kind of weird. I wish, like, they allowed one of these characters to have just, like, a full 2 health bars. That'd be nice, but... so the game is a little interesting in that regard. Another extra life. How many lives do we have? 6 lives already, and we're pretty much still getting started. And we're going to go ahead and take the mouse and grab that extra life. You know, you can actually go one of 2 ways there. And which way you go, it doesn't really matter in the long, grand scheme of things. So these skulls here, when you get close to them and then you cross their path on the same horizontal level, they shoot across the screen. And pretty much from here on out, you start to see these skeletons or skulls a lot more frequently. And they're some of the more annoying enemies in the game, in particular these big skulls up here, which are officially my least favorite enemies in the game. It's actually quite easy to avoid them. They're just so annoying, I don't really care to avoid them. See, now a little bit like Mega Man, you can also just tank your way through the game, and you can just play relatively sloppy, kind of like I am right now. But if you do play as the dragon, particularly if you use his charge attack, you can just you can tear through these enemies like it's nothing. His charge attack is extremely powerful. Oh, this is the level with all the water. So what's actually kind of funny about this level is if you play someone like Samson, you sort of just sink into the water. And it makes it a little bit difficult to deal with this stage. However, if you play as the mouse, he actually walks on top of the water. So in order to get through this stage quickly, you can just play as the mouse. And if you can dodge things, you're pretty much good. Alright, I'm going to switch back over. Alright, boss time. Alright, so this is sort of like a reoccurring boss. We fight him a couple of times throughout the course of the game. This time he just comes up from the bottom of the screen. The other 2 times he's actually flying in the air. He's very reminiscent of the dragon boss in Mega Man 2 at the first level of Dr. Wily's castle. So now what I'm doing right here is I'm basically just tanking. And the Golem's really good for that. So you can just play really sloppy and just tank over and over. Because he's super, super powerful. Switch over. And that's it. There are some bosses in this game where I literally just sit there, take as much damage as I can, and just pummel the bosses with the golem, because he's so strong in this game. Alright, so this level is a little tricky. This actually took me several tries the first time I played it. That extra life right there is actually really misleading. That platform that extra life is on, you fall through it. You can't walk on top of it. So there's a couple of those platforms in this stage that you have to watch out for, where you'll land on some spikes or something like that. Also, this platforming section, you do not have to wait for these platforms to appear. I made this mistake when I was first playing through this level. I thought that you had to wait for the platforms to appear, and I was making the level a lot more difficult on myself than I really needed to. So, the big thing you gotta watch out for in this stage is just these skulls. They just constantly appear. And these are probably the worst enemies on this stage. So something else I didn't really mention earlier is you can duck. You can just press down to duck in this game. And so there's these little bubble enemies that they just sit on platforms, and you know, they're a little bit lower than your standing, you know, shot position, and you typically have to duck to shoot them. So again, this platform here, you don't want to walk on it, so we're going to just sort of, hover our way across, kind of like that. There's going to be a couple more coming up here, so there's an extra life right here. Just grab that. Another extra life. Unsurprising, actually. This game, like I said, it just tosses extra lives at you like crazy. Alright, we're going to switch over to somebody else. And what I'm going to try to do here, actually, is see if I can use the golem. So this is kind of what I'm talking about. If you use the golem at certain points, even though you're taking hits over and over, you can just tank your way through. Kind of like this. We're going to do it again. Bam, just like that. Now the mouse is just as useful. His bomb attack is crazy powerful in this game. It does so many like rapid fire hits. You can take bosses out really, really quickly. And there is a specific boss in the game I am going to use the mouse for. Alright, so switch back over to the dragon. Get our charge attack going. Or, you know, just fly over everything. So here's that repetitive enemy design and placement just rearing its ugly head again. And I hate to be negative, but you know, these Let's Plays are also styles of videos where I also like to give my opinions and so forth. These videos sort of evolved from my casual reviews, and that was kind of like part of the point of doing Let's Plays to begin with. Was to one, you know, show you how to get through these games, but also to give my opinions on them and so forth. And you know, in games like this where I was very lukewarm on them, going through them my first time, and completing them multiple times after that, I hate it when I have to play games like this for Let's Plays where I'm not super enthusiastic about them, I guess I should say. Like, I don't really think Little Samson's a bad game. I just, I was actually expecting a hell of a lot better when I played it. That's my big thing with Little Samson, is that people were hyping this up to be like a Mega Man 2 killer or something like that, or something like on that same level, and I'm not getting anywhere near the same level of enemy design and variety and quality stage design. Like, just watch this part right here. This is just supremely annoying level design right here. Like, it's not like it's super hard. You get so much health, it doesn't really matter. but it's just not that much fun to me, you know? Like, several of the Mega Man games just have this really nice flow to them. You don't feel like you're just doing the same thing over and over and over again, even though the gameplay is relatively basic. The stages look different enough, the enemies are different enough in each of the stages, or even if in some cases they're not that different, they're placed in different ways to where they feel different, you know? It's called quality level design, and I really don't think Little Samson has that. Look, here's some more of these skeletons. All they do is they shoot skulls in multiple directions. Is that fun? I don't think it's that much fun. I think it's quite annoying, actually. And I don't know. I was just expecting a lot more with this game. Like I said, I don't think it's a bad game. I don't feel it's the amazing game that a lot of people make it out to be. Look, more of these skulls. Here we go. This is so much fun, right? And like I said, I don't like being negative in these Let's Plays, but there are some games that I really feel like I just need to speak my mind on, basically. And if I'm ruining anybody's childhood, well, chances are I'm probably not ruining anybody's childhood, because this is a pretty uncommon game. It's not one you saw a lot of people, or heard of a lot of people playing when they were younger, but if I'm ruining your now adulthood, or whatever you want to call it, I apologize. It is what it is, you know. So I actually wanted to go up there and try to get that potion, but I pushed it off screen. That's something else you got to deal with in this game. Is the second you push an item off screen in this game, it's gone for good. Alright, we're gonna just get up top. It's a lot safer up top. So like these puffball dudes, yep. We've been fighting them since the very first level of the game. And they're not even fun enemies. Like, they're invincible half the time, they do these spread shots. It's just, like I said, I'm not a fan of a lot of the enemy design in this game. So this boss, we basically shoot him back and forth. We're gonna blow him off of his skeleton horse. And then we basically just tank over and over. Just keep shooting him like this. Occasionally your shots will connect. A lot of your shots just get blocked. And then he goes through this cycle multiple times where he basically falls to the ground, and then he dashes all the way across the screen like this. Alright, that's that. On to the next level. On to the next level of complaints. I mean, yeah. Alright, back over to the dragon. So this level has constantly respawning skeleton warrior dudes. And several other stages in this game have constantly respawning enemies like this. But keep in mind, in stages like this, and this is one that I used to do it on quite a bit, is you can just grind out on these constantly spawning enemies that just never stop. And we've got to switch over. Just gonna skip a lot of these dudes. Now, I kind of wish there was a scoring system in this game. Now, actually, the scoring system would have been broken. Well, maybe... Okay, maybe they didn't do the scoring system because there's constantly respawning enemies. That just dawned on me. But I kind of wish there was a scoring system of some kind. It would give me more reason to, like, kill some of the enemies on the screen. There's quite a few enemies in the game I just have a tendency of just avoiding completely because like I said, it's not really necessary to kill them. It's not a mandatory kind of thing, if you know what I mean. But having some kind of incentive to just try to kill everything would be really nice. I mean, there is some incentive. Like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and... Nah, you know, I'm not going to do it. I was going to say I could have just used my potion, which would have allowed me to get my health back for the dragon, and then potentially enemies would have dropped more health later on. Or another life potion. But it actually doesn't really matter, because there's actually a full heart up here. Not a full heart. These hearts don't give you all your health. They give you like 5 or 6 health blocks, I think. So let's just kill this guy really quickly. And then switch over to the dragon, get our health back. Oh, look, there's another drop. That's good. So one of the incentives to kill enemies in this game is, you know, hoping that they'll drop health refills or a life potion. But what happens when you're maxed out on all your health and you've got life potions? And you've got 12 lives, apparently. Wow, we went from 6 to 12. That was really quick. What incentive is there to kill the enemies? I mean, in a normal game, like a Mega Man game, and I hate to compare it to Mega Man, is killing enemies is fun. That's why you want to kill enemies. But I don't really feel like killing enemies is fun in this game. You can just watch them kill themselves, apparently. Like, these swords, they're just like, seriously, man? They take a bunch of hits, unless you're charged up with the dragon, of course. The dragon is awesome. But, I don't know, man. I'm just complaining. Alright, so this boss, I actually tank with the golem. Now this boss basically has 2 forms of attack. He can shoot lightning down, or he can shoot these things on the ground. Preferably, he shoots them on the ground, because the lightning is really, really powerful. Alright, let's just use that. And bam, he's dead. So that boss is actually really, really challenging if you're trying to play as like Samson or the dragon, because his lightning attack does so much damage. I think for other characters it'll take away like half of your health bar. So like you can die in 2 hits with the dragon with that guy's lightning attack. You've really got to watch out for that. So we used up the golem's life refill, so we're gonna have to watch out for another life refill potion. Like I said, I like to try to keep fully stocked, so now's a good time for me to start caring about killing enemies, because maybe one of them will drop another extra life. 13 lives, okay. Like I said, this game gives you a crazy amount of extra lives. And you know what's funny is, like, you don't really need them that much, because you do get unlimited continues, as far as I am aware. And, you also get passwords, so even if you didn't get unlimited continues, you'd still have the whole password system to work with, but I digress. Alright, switch over. Oh, that was close. Oh my god, I got so lucky, man. I was holding on the A button, and Samson actually latched on to the side of the platform. You know, I was like, oh, because I thought I was gonna die, but I didn't. I got lucky there. So you do have to be careful on this level, because if you do screw up, it's instant kills once you touch that lava. Alright, so this is where using the mouse is good. Just like that. And now, I believe this is the dragon fight from... I could say from Mega Man 2, but it's very, very reminiscent of the Mega Man 2 dragon boss fight. It's basically, like, reversed. And that's it. So Little Samson does actually make you fight your boss fights again towards the end of the game, and a lot of times you have to fight them multiple times back to back. Not like in Mega Man 2 where you've got to just go through all 8 boss fights again, or whatever it is. But you do have to fight these bosses again later on in the game. And so we're going to actually see that dragon one more time. Let's just take our time here. We'll get charged up. So one of the good things about the dragon is you can just, if you're having a hard time with this game, just sit and charge. Kind of like this. And switch back over to the golem, because he needs that. God, I hate the Little Samson tune. Let's dance! This is like, oh my god, please go away. It's another one of my big gripes with this game, is that, like, it's really disappointing that they didn't try to concoct, like, original stage tunes. Like, it's just, for about, let's say 80% of the game, you're listening to one of 4 tunes. You're listening to Little Samson's goofy-ass tune, or you're listening to, you know, the Golem's tune, which is fine. Like, the Golem and Dragon in particular, I like their music, as well as the mouse, but man, whenever you switch over to Little Samson, it just really kills the feeling of the game. And I really would have preferred a more unique soundtrack where they actually they concocted a brand new piece of music for every single stage, like in most games from the era. I think that would have worked out a lot better for this game. So Little Samson has quite a few things that just kind of like get under my skin. Like, they shouldn't bother me, but they do. You know, it's just one of those types of games. I really want to like it a lot more than I do. Right, you know what, just skip these guys. I don't even really care. I really don't even care. They're not that much fun to fight. So these guys, when they open up their capes, they basically shoot lightning down wherever you are, so it's something I didn't really explain earlier, but it's not the first time we fought them. Alright, just skip that life potion. Now the mechanic where we can walk on the ceiling is actually really useful on some of the later stages in the game. And I don't know if this was really intentional, you know, on behalf of the developers, but there's a couple really tricky sections in the game that can just be completely avoided by you walking on the ceiling and just skipping over everything on the screen, which is interesting. And you guys will see what I mean, and probably not too long from now. We're actually progressing quite a bit throughout the through the game. And is this the boss I'm thinking of? Yes. So we're basically fighting death, and you can't touch this guy. He kills you in one hit, no matter what. So if you see him, get away from him, just go to the other side of the screen, and just attack. So we actually had to fight that guy again as well. Yeah, I made the mistake of trying to tank against that guy with, like, the golem, and he touched me, and just BAM! All my life gone and instantaneously. Alright, so we're actually getting towards the end of the game. I think there's 2 or 3 stages of this style, and then there's 3 more stages after this. Or was it actually just one of this type of stage? I don't remember. I guess we're gonna find out. So again, this is just kind of what I'm talking about. We fought these skulls and skeletons way early on in the game. We're still fighting them now. It's just monotonous. That's all. That's all there is to it. And again, I don't like sounding negative, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm just pointing out the obvious, basically. And my gripes with the game. So we got these little blocks that are gonna start bouncing around, almost kind of like the mini thwomps from like Super Mario Brothers. And it seems like you can only really attack them or do damage when they're actually in motion. That's how some enemies are in this game. You can't actually do anything to them until they're actually moving. Which again, is just another form of just annoying enemy design to me. It's not that, like, enemies do it, but, like, the way they're placed, and in the positions that they do it, or they do have that property, it's just annoying. And it seems to be overused as well. There's quite a few enemies in the game where you can't really do damage to them unless they're in motion. So, just another observation. We got, these respawning banshee-looking things. See, what I could be doing is just constantly switching characters. Like, for these big skulls, if they're right in front of me, I can try to just use the golem. You know, the golem's really, really powerful. Switch over to the dragon. Ooh, I switched over to the golem by accident. Alright, so this is actually a good section right here. What we're going to do is we're going to get to the end of it, and then just grind out a little bit. Actually, we might not even need to grind out. So these bubbles here, they are just constantly respawning. We're going to go ahead and just use that potion with Samson. And so this is actually a really good section to grind out because there's constant enemies spawning. And you can basically use it to get your health back for your characters. This is probably the best spot in the game to grind out because there's just so many enemies spawning rapidly. You can basically just use whatever character you want. This is a way to grind out extra lives. It's a way to grind out life potions. The life potions are really what you want. Like, I need to get one more with Samson just to be safe. We'll go ahead and grab this while we're at it. So all of my health is maxed. I just need one more life potion. Another extra, look, 16 lives. We should place bets on how many lives I'm going to have by the end of the game. I haven't died yet, have I? I don't think I have. I need to make sure I'm not just running into these blindly because I don't want the dragon to pick up another life potion. You can only carry one life potion per character. Alright, switch over to Samson. Now we're just going to do a little more grinding to get our health back up for the dragon, since I was a little reckless there. But that should be easier than getting another life potion. Oops. Jeez, I keep taking hits. Alright, another life potion, whatever. That works. Alright, boss time. Oh yeah, this is a tricky boss. I forgot about this guy. Now, this is definitely a boss that takes hints from Mega Man 1 and 3. And you'll see exactly what I mean in just a few moments. And I'm going to tank with the Golem. And switch back over to somebody like Samson. So this is, yeah, very much like one of the boss fights in Mega Man 1 and 3. But, unlike that game, you only have just a split second to do damage on the guy. And so what's good to do is just try to watch with the side of the screen he's going to, just follow him over, like this, switch over, and then just do a bunch of damage right away, like this. And that's it. So, making pretty good progress, and I forgot, is this... Yeah, okay, no, there's only 3 more stages now. For some reason, that castle, I thought there was multiple stages, but it's just one really long stage. Again, no checkpoints. So, if you have problems with that stage, all the way back to the beginning for you whenever you die. Fortunately, if you die at bosses in this game, you actually just respawn right at the boss itself. But the problem with that is that in a lot of cases, you don't have your health. You know, so, or if you're using the dragon and your dragon died, you can't use the dragon at that boss again, because your dragon's dead. So you have to try to do, say, like, the whole fight with Samson, or somebody like that. Another extra life. We're gonna... Oops! I didn't want to do that. Oh, screw it. Let's just use the potions. I don't really care. We're gonna get some more anyway. We're gonna probably end up having to do some more grinding on this stage. I'm not even carried now. Just like smashing and everything. Alright, let's see if we can just... Actually, no, this is a good spot to grind, so we're gonna go ahead and just grind out a little bit. So let's go and try to clear out these screens of enemies first, like these bubble guys and whatnot. Alright, and that'll take us to the boss fight. Do the Golem, since he does a lot of damage. We're actually probably fine in terms of health and health potions and so forth. The Golem is probably the character I care about the most. Because, you know, as you guys saw, he can tank like a beast. And that definitely makes certain boss fights way, way easier. Alright, let's just go ahead and skip these guys. Maybe I'll get a potion on the way down, but probably not. So the drops in this game are very inconsistent. Like, that's... what... I really wish the game knew if your health bars were maxed out, because, like, then, like, the heart bubbles, they don't do anything after a certain point, you know? But the game isn't smart enough to realize that, unfortunately. So, here's death. We have to fight it again. I also find it interesting how they put some of these boss fights, like, almost back to back. Like, it's like we just fought this guy, like, 2 or 3 stages ago. So it's not like, you know, other games where they make you fight old bosses again, where it's like, oh, I haven't fought this boss in, like, 40 minutes. Like, oh, it's fresh again, fighting him again. But then there's this first boss. You know, we do get to fight the first boss again, which was a while ago, so I'll give him the pass on that one. And there we go. So you typically fight 2 bosses side by side on these last sets of stages. Alright, let's just skip that. I don't think I was in, like, the right mood to do a Let's Play today. You know, what's funny is, like, I'm actually at the start of my personal vacation. I've taken off work the next 2 weeks, and I'm doing this Let's Play, and I'm like, God, I'm so tired right now. I didn't really sleep very well today, which was weird. I don't know if it's because I got on the exercise bike when I got home from work. Sometimes that'll get the chemicals flowing in your body, and or certain chemicals flowing, and you might not be able to sleep. And I think that might be what happened, but I don't know, it was like 7 hours after I rode on the bike that I wasn't able to sleep, so I don't know. So this is the part I was talking about, where you can just walk on the ceiling all the way to the end. Samson's just chilling there, like, what's up? Alright, so back to this guy again, and as such, back to the golem. Yeah, as you can see, his lightning does a crazy amount of damage. And back to the dragon boss fight again. Now, you have to sometimes watch out for this guy because he can lunge all the way across the screen, and I'm not sure if he kills you instantly, but if not, he does a ton of damage. And I've had him do that just like that. And he seems to just do it completely at random. There's no rhythm or rhyme to it. So something to keep in mind now is if your character's dead, they're dead until you either beat the stage or you get a game over. However, so like I can't select the dragon now. I can select the golem, but I can't select the dragon. You'll notice that the dragon doesn't come up on the bottom of the screen when I highlight him. Now if I have a potion, I can revive the dragon. So something really important to keep in mind about that. So now this is going to actually be a little more difficult because I don't have a potion for the golem, and I really need the golem for that first form. The dragon is just kind of like hit or miss, you know, it doesn't really matter. We lost a life and we just got it back. Oh, this game gives you handouts like crazy. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and just take the bottom way. Maybe we can get another life refill. But, let's... Maybe the golem's better for this. I don't know. All right. It would be really nice if these heart bubble things actually did something, even after you've already used them, or maximize your health bars, I mean. All right, cool. Life refresh for the golem. It's exactly what we need. See if we can get another one for the dragon. Oy, but my eyes are like seriously dragging on now. I don't know if it's just this game, or if it's the weather, or just the fact that I didn't sleep very well today. Or if it's the fact I have to grind out on enemies now. I don't know. Little Samson does have a tendency of giving me this feeling where I don't really care what's happening on screen. Like, I'm not particularly challenged at all when I play this game. I mean, it's not to say the game is a complete cakewalk. I mean, there are some boss fights, like the ones that we have to deal with right now, that can be relatively challenging. Not insanely hard or anything. But I become a little complacent when I play this game, you know? I don't really feel like I'm doing much that's very demanding. And as such, I just sort of lose focus as I play it. And this is exactly what I notice, like, every single playthrough I've done when I've gone through this game. Now, I can't fault the game for letting me grind out on enemies. I'm not complaining about that. It's just, the game for me also just has this feeling like it drags on longer than it should. Now, I understand, like, there's passwords as well. So it's not like you're forced to beat this game in one sitting. But I mean, you're never forced to beat Mega Man in one sitting, or Castlevania 3 and on in one sitting, you know, because you do have passwords for all those games. But I mean, I feel like those games are best experienced in one sitting, and Little Samson's one of those games where, like, I don't feel like it's amazing in one sitting. Like, I play a few levels and I feel like I should stop playing because it's, I don't know. It's just not that much fun compared to some of those other examples I just named. Let's hope this guy doesn't lunge forward again like he did the first time, because it is instant kill, for sure. I'm gonna laugh if he does, because, like, every time I've gone through this game, it's been very inconsistent for him to do it. Thank you. Yeah, there just really seems to be no rhythm or rhyme to it. He just like, oh, I'm just gonna smash you and just kill you right away, but other times he doesn't, so... Alright, this is actually the final stage, and I don't think there are any health... Alright, so what we're gonna do is do a little more grinding. You can actually grind at this part right here. We're gonna actually do it with the golem. So this is actually something I figured out while doing this on Twitch. It's like I was trying to figure out how to get my health back because I kept dying at the boss. But obviously I had the problem where I lost like one of the characters I was using. So I was like, well, how do I get my health back? It seems like impossible in this level. But then I figured this out. I was like, oh, I can just sit here because, you know, constantly respawning enemies. They don't ever stop. It's a constant. So basically, just what I want to do is get another health refresh with my my golem. $20 lives. Alright, come on guys, give me one already. Make it happen. Make it happen. Actually, I do want the golem for this boss fight too. I was thinking to myself for a second. I was like, you know, I could just go through without the health refill. It doesn't really matter. But for this boss fight, yeah, I forgot that I do actually use the golem on it. So, I mean, the golem is really, I think, the best form for these bosses. I mean, the mouse has the potential to be the absolute best. But the problem with the mouse is that it's very, very risky. The mouse can die very, very quickly. Whereas the golem, it could take a while for, you know, for you to get killed. But he still does a ton of damage as well, so that's why I prefer using the golem. It's much, much more safe. But still awesome, too, you know? It's a really good compromise. Alright, come on, you give me everything else like 3 times. Give me a life potion. 21 lives. Some quality RNG here. See, the reason I want to make sure I get this right the first time is that if we screw up, we're gonna have to just do this all over again. So it's like, the more prepared I am going in, the less preparing we have to do when we die. If we die. The less chance that we will die, I guess I should say. Because if we do die, we're gonna do this all over again, unfortunately. Holy crap, man. Give me a life potion. Please. Alright, I give up. I give up. Alright. I'll take it. Just tanking my way through now. Switch back over to the mouse. Switch back over to Samson. Switch back over to the mouse. Oops. Oops, never mind. Use the dragon. You've got these nice falling platforms. Alright. It should be the final boss. So in the final boss, we need to actually destroy this projectile he shoots out because it explodes. And it'll hurt you no matter where you are on the screen. And then, like I said, I just use the golem. Now, this form, you need to smack him in the head. Alright, now we're on to the worst part of the game. And you'll see exactly what I mean in just a few moments. Alright, this part sucks. Really badly, actually. Constant explosions, lots of forced damage that you have to take. It's just not cool. When I first got to this section the first time I played this game, I was just like, are you kidding me? Wow, and I just died. Fortunately, in this part, it does actually, if you do die with like a special character, it does give them back to you. Because I think they realize, like, okay, the players definitely aren't going to be able to get through this without their extra characters. So, usually when I get through this, or play through this game, this is the part that gives me the most trouble. Now, every time there's an explosion, rocks fall down from the ceiling, so, I mean, if you play carefully, you can, you know, avoid taking certain types of damage, like the falling rocks. Alright, we're almost there. Switch over to the golem. And then just go to the end. And that's it. We just beat little Samson. So there you have it, guys. Little Samson for the NES. We just ran through the game from start to finish. That last section of the game is really, really aggravating. But if you just kind of switch through all your characters and, you know, hopefully if you've got some life refills, it's doable. I've never even come close to doing it without taking damage or anything like that. So, definitely my least favorite part of the game. Overall, I mean, like I said, guys, you guys heard me complain most of the way through this Let's Play. It's obviously not my favorite NES game out there. I don't think it's a bad game. I just, something about it just doesn't really grab me, you know. And I think I know why it doesn't grab me. I think it's level design. I think it's music in certain cases. It's repetition. It's the game length. It's just a whole bunch of things going against the whole experience. And I'm not a huge fan of the game, honestly. I mean, I could see myself playing through it again on Twitch or something like that. I'm glad I finished the game. I'm glad I've actually spent the time to learn it and get through it. Because up until this point, and you know, it's 2017 as of recording this. I know I always date these videos whenever I mention that. But, you know, I never played it back in the day. I'm glad I finally played it. I'm glad I know what this game's all about now. Because up until this point, I've seen a lot of reviews and so forth, and a lot of praise given to this game. And now I know what it's, you know, what the fuss is all about. Sort of, kind of, like, not really what the fuss is all about. I'm wondering, I'm left scratching my head wondering what the fuss was all about. But now I know what the game is about. I finished the game and, you know, just yet another game to mark off my list. I'm glad I've finally done it, and I know what the game's like now, so... But, I mean, I think it's okay. I mean, if you have a flashcard or something, I think it's worth giving it a try. I mean, there's far worse NES games, but I also think there's far better, too. Like, I think Little Samson's deceiving because, like, it's got some good graphics. Some of the tunes are pretty solid. The controls actually do feel pretty responsive. But the enemy placement, the stage layout and design, just the overall length of the game, it's just super repetitive and not that much fun, in my opinion. That's just me. Now, other people have lower standards, I guess. Some people do tell me that I am pretty nitpicky, but I know what I like, and I know what makes a game good, and Little Samson, I think, is missing a lot of the things that makes a game really, really good. Like, it's still a good game, but it's not, like, people, like, put it on this pedestal like it's, like, the greatest thing since sliced bread, and, like, the pinnacle of NES platforming. It's not even, it doesn't even come anywhere close. There's far, far better platformers on the system. But, I mean, if you got a flashcard, or if you're into emulation or something, I do still recommend giving it a try. You know, I think it's the sort of thing where it's, like, good to educate yourself, and that's what's fun about going back and revisiting these classic games, is that you can hear people, you know, hype something up like crazy, but you won't know if it's actually that good until you try it for yourself. And that's basically what I've done with Little Samson here, and I suggest you do the same and form your own opinion. I do tend to be nitpicky, but like I said, I feel like I know what makes a good game really good, and Little Samson, unfortunately, does not have a lot of that. So anyway, guys, I want to say thanks for watching. I apologize if this Let's Play wasn't the most entertaining or lively, but man, I was tired doing this today. And I'm not sure if I'm going to go record the next Let's Play that I was planning right after this one, because, man, I'm tired. But still, thanks for watching. If you got to this point, I appreciate it. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. I've got a ton of Let's Plays on this channel and way more to come as well. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you soon, and until the next video, take it easy.